guys, welcome to the channel. This is gonna be my first video, so yeah. If anybody has any advice on filming or anything like that, or editing, what to use, this is a GoPro Hero 10, so that's gonna be what most of my filming's on, at least for the start, because I don't have anything else right now. But yeah, if anybody has any advice or anything, it would be greatly appreciated. But anyways, I am going to be showing you how I make my shark rigs. I am going to Florida next week, and if the seaweed cleans up, I would like to be able to do some shark fishing. So we have a 16-aught circle hook, and I think this is 400-pound cable, and then goes into a swivel, and then into 300-pound mono, and then it goes, this is about, I don't know, 5-6 feet long. Then I have a snap swivel that slides on this for the weight, and then into another swivel which you connect to your main line. So yeah, I kind of explain. I use I'd say about 3 feet of cable, just in case swallows it or anything like that. And then I use about 5-6 feet of mono for abrasion and stuff, like if they get tail wrapped, or if so that they don't rub you off on their tail. And then these are my littler ones. I have these, which are with a 24-aught circle hook, and then about 4-5 feet of cable, and it's like 800-pound cable, and then 600-pound mono, and about, I don't know, 8 feet of it. But same concept, same setup. With this one, I used these on my 30 wide, my Avet 30 wide. I caught a 9-foot tiger shark last year. But yeah, I just rolled them up and stick them in a gallon Ziploc bag, and easy travel. But I will kind of go over. So for this, all of like the line and the cable and everything is catch-all tackle. And then it's pretty hard to find, because in Florida these have to be non-stainless and inline circle hooks. They're kind of hard to find, but these are from Amazon. These are 16-aught, and then I think I got my other ones, the 24-aught, from somewhere online, I forgot where. And then for these I use the SPR swivels, and they're 550-pound test. You can go bigger. I mean, I wouldn't go smaller. Sometimes it's a little difficult to get the line through, even with these, the 550-pound test. I'll grab these. These are 1,250, or just 1,200-pound test swivels for my bigger ones. And then the crimps I use for the leader line, or not the leader line, the cable, I use copper crimps, and then for the mono I use aluminum crimps, just because it's softer on the line. And yeah, we'll kind of go through how I make them. So first, take your swivel, you put it on. Sometimes after cutting this cable, it's a little hard to get it on. Let me see if the other end is better. Well, promise it's not that complicated. Alright, and then after we have one side of the crimp on, I'm trying to make sure y'all can see this. One side of the crimp on, we take this hook, we feed it through the eye, and then we turn it over, and then we feed it back through, folding under pressure. And then, I mean, I would make the loop a little smaller than this. You don't necessarily, it doesn't have to be any sort of specific size, but yeah. And then I would keep a little bit out, but not too much, because when you're leadering, I mean like on this side of the crimp, because when you're leadering your shark, sometimes it can pull away, and if your hand slides down it, if there's too much sticking out, or if it's really pokey, you can cut your hand on it. But something else you can do is you can get like little like wax, you could use wax, but like the wire connectors, like the heat shrink ones, and you can put them over this so that it's, you know, completely out of the way. Anyway, then you take your crimper and you crimp it down. This crimper is just from Amazon. It's nothing special. For the cable, you can get as close to the edge as you want. Like there's no worry with the what's it called? With the mono, you don't want to get too close. I'll show y'all in a minute. So then, this is already open. Grab a swivel. Should have set these out. I set everything else out. Grab a swivel, and then we do this. Oh wait, I forgot to put the dang crimp thingy on sleeve. And we just take the swivel, and then we just do the same thing. And run it through. Just like that. Alright, so it'll say like this, same with just a single loop. And then your swivel. And then we take crimpers, crimp them down. Alright, there we go. And then we will grab our mono. We will put a aluminum sleeve. You see how these are different? They're just softer on the mono, so you don't have any problems with the crimp cutting it or anything and creating a weak spot. All right, and then I think I showed you on this one. So we're gonna take this, we're gonna make kind of like a loop just to make it more secure. You don't have to do this, you can just do the single loop if you would like to. All right, so my camera overheated, whoops. Make sure that you got everything. So we just did the second loop to the swivel, and put this crimp on there, and we're gonna take this, and then we're gonna make a loop just like this, and then if I could hold it, we're just gonna go through. I like to do 3 times. All right, and then after you go through 3 times, you're gonna take this tag end and you're gonna go back through the swivel so that it sits in this little together part. I don't know, the little spiral, I guess. And then you can pull it. You can pull either end. I don't mind cutting a little off. So we'll just do it like that. And then we'll take this and feed it through the other side of the crimp. There we go. And you just pull your crimp down, leave a little bit. It's gonna pull down, but it'll be fine no matter how much you leave. I mean, you could really leave that much. It's not the end of the world. All right, and then this is where when you crimp it, you want to leave a little bit on the ends of the crimp because you don't want to crimp over your mono. So leave a little bit. All right. Crimp it down. And then on these are pretty long. If you get shorter crimps, you can just do 2. But I like to do 3. All right. And then if you look, you can see you don't have to leave that much, but that much is more. It's probably about, I don't know, 1/8 of an inch. All right. And then if you see, it's kind of, it comes up on this side. So what you can do, you can take your crimper and you can kind of go and just give it a little pressure and flatten out those so that whenever you're leadering your shark, you don't have to worry about those little things cutting you, because they can be pretty gnarly. All right, and then we're gonna cut this little tag end down. I just use a razor blade. I found that if you use, like, you can use bolt cutters or anything like that, but it kind of makes it sharp. And this way, if you use a razor blade, it's pretty flat. You just have to be really careful not to nick your main line, because you don't want any weak spots. All right, and then we're gonna take a snap swivel. Use any snap swivel that fits over the line. Doesn't have to be anything special. It's just gonna hold your weight. So I mean, it doesn't have to be super high quality or nothing like that. Then we just slide it down the mono so it slides along like that. And then we will take another crimp and we will slide it right over this. And we will take another swivel. This is so that it can attach to your main line. We'll slide it over, and this one isn't necessarily as important. I like to do this in case, I don't know, it just makes it stronger at the beginning, but majority of the time you don't have to worry about it on this side. But I still, oops, I slung this swivel off. I still like to do the loop just to be extra, but once again, it's not 100% necessary. So I'll show you how to do this loop again. So we just put the swivel, make sure it's inside the loop, and then we take this and we go through, do 2, 3, 4, 5 times. It's not, it doesn't have to be crazy. And then we take this tag end again, we slide it through the swivel so that it sits in here, and then pull it tight, pull it down. See, this one I did a little bit more loops, so it sits a little bigger than the other one. Like I said, it doesn't matter as long as it's doubled over. And we'll slide our crimp down. All right, and then we will crimp it down. It's kind of awkward with one hand, but it's very much doable. All right, and then there we go. And then I will flatten down these parts again so that I don't have to worry about them on my hands. And then, all right. And when cutting down these tag ends on the mono, it's not, I mean, you don't have to make them insanely short. It's not, you know, it's not that big of a deal. But I do like to make them pretty short just so that they look a lot nicer. Alright. And there we go. That's it. So we have swivel onto this with our crimp. Then we go down, and we got our snap swivel that slides on our leader line, and then we got this loop again, the doubled over onto the swivel with the crimp, And then just the single with this. I mean, you can technically do the same thing with this, but once again, it's not, you don't get that much out of it. And then we come down, and then we got this. Once again, you can make your loop smaller. It can be as small as you want it. This is the size that I prefer, but go smaller than that if you want. Then you got your hook. I will show you. I like to crimp this barb down because it makes it a lot easier when you're trying to be quick to get your shark back in the water. Don't have to try super hard, but just give it a little bit, press it down, just so it's a little easier to get out of the shark's mouth. Whoops. So yeah, if you see, it's just flatten down. I do this on all of mine. Don't have to do it, but I have not lost a shark. Never had a problem. I mean, all you have to do is, I mean, this hook by itself, even without the barb, holds really well, and the shark skin's really tough. Yeah, and then, I mean, that's your thing. You just roll it up in a little circle, and then you put it in a Ziploc bag, just like this. Pretty simple, easy to carry, easy to make. I will show y'all. See, I use all my stuff. All my stuff is catch-all tackle. Easy to get. It's on Amazon. Oh, this is 480 pound test wire. And then these 300 pound. And I mean, it's pretty cheap. I don't know. I think all of this to make a couple shark rigs cost me like 50 bucks. And I mean, you get 30 feet of wire. So I mean, if you're making 4 or 5 feet per thing, you can make 6 of them or whatever. And it only comes with 2 crimps, so that's enough to make 5 of them, or 10 crimps. Sorry, not 2. 10 crimps. Just enough to make 5 of them. But it has the crimp sizes on them, and you can just get like these. Oh, well, there's a barcode, but these are catch-all tackle too, and that's the size for this. It kind of gives you a chart for this, and yeah. But yeah, I am gonna be doing a lot of fishing in Florida. I'll be down there for a week, so I'll kind of give you a rundown of my gear. Yeah, it's a lot. So I'm gonna have all these. I'm gonna do some pure fishing, hopefully get on some kingfish. You got some big poppers, maybe for some jacks and some X-wraps and some cobia jigs or bucktails. And then I got a whole bunch of jigs. I'm going on a snapper trip, try to do some jigging. These are all Nomad. Just most of them are 200, 160 gram. And then there's some 120 grams in there. And then I got all my little stuff, try to get on some Spanish, big fish, all that. And then these are all my hooks. And then I got some kingfish rigs, pre-make them all. I'll make a video on how I make these. And then all my weights, tackle, fillet knife, all that stuff. And then of course you gotta get the NOB ends, maybe get on a tarpon. And then a big reel, just a 30 wide. And then a 14,000 Saragossa. I used it for tuna fishing. Then I got some of my Terramar 8 foot. And then I have a Stratic 4000, a Spinfisher 5500. And this is my custom rod. This thing's pretty sweet. I think I might get a kick out of this. I got some tarantulas in there. Just 3 of them. And then yeah, some surf rods and whatnot. But yeah. Thank y'all for watching the video. Hopefully it was pretty alright for my first video. Yeah, if any of y'all have any tips or anything I should get, as far as filming, yeah, it would be greatly appreciated, and feel free to subscribe. Almost mispronounced. I will be doing a lot of fishing. Right now I live Texas, so I mean, go down to Galveston every now and then and get on some good redfish and stuff like that. But I am going into the Coast Guard, so I will be on the coast, and I plan on making a lot of YouTube videos. I've been wanting to do it for a while, just haven't had the confidence, honestly. But yeah, thank y'all for watching. Till next time.